let's break down once again. Most of you know this. Let's run through again. Slight changes this year in the college football playoff in terms of rankings and seedings. 12 teams make it. Now, those 12 teams made up of, as Joey pointed out to us earlier to remind us, it's the 5 highest ranked conference champions, no matter which conference. Doesn't have to be the Power 4. Then you have 7 at-large teams. I was grateful Joey thought of that. 4 highest-ranked teams will receive first-round byes, and then, as Greg mentioned, that 5 spot and really 6, 7, 8 also are coveted because that gives you a home playoff game. So there are a couple things to keep an eye on that the guys have alluded to. First, you want to watch as we start to unveil these rankings. Do we have a team outside of the Power 4 conferences ranked? And where's the highest ranked ACC team? College Football Playoff Top 25 is presented by Goodyear. Cincinnati wasn't ranked. They move in. They've got a big game next week against BYU if they get by Arizona this week at number 24. USF. Okay, so now this is important because South Florida, out of the American group of 5 team that we didn't have ranked last week, this would presumably put them in the projected bracket.
Without a doubt, and they got a huge game coming up against Navy, but Alex Golish, amidst all the coaching rumors, has his team playing at a high level. They run a play about every 15 to 17 seconds, and that kid right there, Brown, he is outstanding at the quarterback position. They are in prime shape right now, and I know down in Tampa, Florida, they're loving where they see themselves tonight.
Well, they've had trouble with Navy historically, and they've got them on the road coming up. Number 23. Tennessee made the initial rankings. They move up a couple of spots with the new teams in the field, just ahead of the Volunteers at 22. The Pittsburgh Panthers, College game day going there. They've got the game against Notre Dame, but more important for them, trying to win the ACC, Joey.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're playing Notre Dame this week, but after that, they go to Georgia Tech. They have Miami. This week, it only matters for the rankings, but after that, they control their own destiny. If they win the next 2 games, they got a chance to play for an ACC championship game.
Tell you the other thing I think it matters for ACC perception and how they might be viewed in the room.
No doubt.
If Pittsburgh could beat Notre Dame, which is going to be highly ranked, 21. Iowa, after that heartbreaking loss at the end against Oregon, they only fall 1 spot.
Well, this is important for Oregon because we know that the committee didn't really like Oregon where they placed them. Now you get a ranked win at Iowa, and they didn't drop Iowa, but 1 spot, Rece. That's big time for Oregon.
I think it's also appropriate. I mean, Iowa had a great chance to win that game. They played very well. Number 20. As we move on through these rankings presented by Goodyear. At number 20, Louisville, coming off a loss. They fall 5 spots, so there's the second ACC team we've seen.
And potentially a big one, too, because we have not seen Miami. And Louisville beat Miami head-to-head, but after the performance last week, losing to Cal, the way they lost to Cal, looking very, very human throughout that performance. That's a big shakeup there with Louisville dropping 5 spots.
19, Virginia. Now, Virginia, of course, still holding that head-to-head edge. They beat Louisville in a close game. They're 8-2. Virginia has Duke this week. That's a really big deal in the ACC. But Virginia, coming off a loss to Wake, they too drop 5 spots. Just lurking and sneaking around the chicken coop. Michigan. If Michigan can get to the Ohio State game, win that game, they're going to have a great at-large case. They might find their way into the Big Ten championship.
I think when we talk about Michigan and Iowa still being ranked, and you talk about perception, Rece, I think this committee has a lot of respect for where the Big Ten is sitting. Michigan, we'll talk about USC. Also, those teams that could be that 4th spot to get into the playoff outside of the top 3 in the Big Ten.
17. Team that beat Michigan, one of their 2 losses. Michigan's 2 losses on the road to Oklahoma and to USC. USC, they've got a lot of weapons, including 2 number 80s who punt, although one of them just throws. Trojans up a couple.
And they have a great setup coming up next couple weeks.
Georgia Tech, another ACC team, is at number 16, the Yellow Jackets' only loss to North Carolina State on the road. Georgia Tech has some big games coming up and a chance to get Pitt themselves. Got Pitt coming to them, so see if Brent Key's team can get back on target there. At number 15, here's the Miami Hurricanes out of the ACC.
Without a doubt. And I know people look at Miami and the 2 losses that they have, but I love the fact that they're creeping up just a little bit. And I know they're going to be below Notre Dame. But, Rece, at some point, if they wind up both with 10-2 records, I think the committee at that point is going to have to look hard at the head-to-head. It's good to see them creep up a little bit this week.
I think this is an adjustment, probably an overcorrection off of having them a little too low last week.
Gotcha.
They were boxed out a little bit because of the head-to-head against Louisville. But to me, this is a far more appropriate spot for Miami to be based on their personnel and the way they lost those 2 games.
It's also really important to note that this is almost certainly the last ACC team we're going to see in the rankings. So when we project the bracket, that would put the Hurricanes into the field, assuming that is the case. Number 14. Remember, we're seeing the rankings right along with you. Vanderbilt Commodores, only loss at Alabama, at Texas. Diego Pavia and friends at 14, up a couple of spots, hoping to make an at-large case. That's their most likely way in. Seems like a stretch to get them into the SEC championship game. You talked about Utah. Utah staying firm at number 13 out of the Big 12.
You know, and this one, to me, I have a ton of respect for Utah. Their best moment, though, this year came in the dominating performance against Cincinnati. Their win against Arizona State was without Sam Leavitt, and that was convincing, of course, but without their quarterback. Other than that, it's G5 teams and teams that are below 500. I think Utah's a really good program. I think they're on the upswing. But at 13, man, it's just hard for me to get on board with them being that high.
They also might sort of be at a ceiling. That's another thing to think about. Number 12. BYU beat Utah. BYU takes a tumble 5 spots after Texas Tech really handled them in Lubbock. But the Cougars can earn their way back, win their way back, and perhaps get into the Big 12 championship game. And Texas Tech takes care of its business, perhaps a rematch in that conference title game. But right now, BYU will be on the outside looking in based on the bracketing rules. Number 11, the Oklahoma Sooners up a spot. Huge game at Alabama coming up.
Yeah, they got a chance to make a statement. Coming off of a bye week, now they have a shot to go to Alabama. The SEC gets interesting this weekend, and this is one of those games they have to play good defense. John Mateer hasn't looked the same since coming back from the thumb injury. He has to play well. They're going against the Alabama team that has been through a gauntlet. Maybe they can catch him sleeping.
Mateer's been running the football. Last game better than he has at any point this season, at a season high in rushing yards. And last time the Sooners played, number 10. Feel like this is going to be the Longhorns. Texas also has a test at Georgia. They've got only 1 loss in the SEC, and of course the opening loss against Ohio State.
Yeah, I think both SEC teams here, Texas and Oklahoma, have to feel great about where they're at right now. Texas especially, knowing you get 2 big opportunities in the next couple weeks. They'll go and play against Georgia this week on the road, and then they'll welcome the top 3 team at worst in the Aggies to their place on Black Friday. So Texas with plenty of firepower to vault up, maybe not into the SEC championship race. If they went out, they could get there, but to host a home playoff game there by being ranked 5 through 8.
Long way to go. Texas splits those 2 games and plays well. They're going to have a good at-large case despite having 3 losses, but still a long way to go before everybody gets upset about that. Notre Dame is at Pittsburgh this week, fighting Irish up a spot to number 9. At number 8, the Oregon Ducks. Now remember, this cut line is going to be 10 this week because of the way everything fell out. So Texas is going to be the last at-large team in the field once we show you the projected bracket. Oregon up a spot after winning at Iowa in miserable weather conditions. Number 7. Hotty Toddy slips a spot. So that means Texas Tech is moving up. Ole Miss at number 7. How about number 6? There they are. The Red Raiders go up 2 spots after a dominant performance against BYU.
And I think you can make a case that they have a real argument to be made at 5. And while I love Georgia, I can look at the circumstances surrounding Texas Tech's loss and better understand knowing that Baron Morton was not out there playing for them, and yet they still had a chance to win that game, if not for some heroics by Sam Leavitt down the stretch at Arizona State. Last weekend's game was a clinic on both sides of the ball. Now, while offensively, I would like to have been a little better in the red zone, other than that, defensively, the way they swarmed to the football, harassing the quarterback, stopping the run, that's a top 5 football team in my eyes.
That's the thing. Red zone touchdowns. Nobody has kicked more field goals in the red zone in the country than Texas Tech. Number 5. It's going to be Georgia, we believe, and it is. Bulldogs, as we mentioned, host Texas. Assume that Alabama, by virtue of that head-to-head win against Georgia, And the hot streak the Tide's been on since then will be at 4, and they are. So now, do we have any drama at 3-2-1 after Indiana's near escape? A&M wins another impressive game on the road. Who's number 3? Texas A&M standing pat at number 3. Joey's grinning.
No. I don't mind them staying at 3 because they were 3 last week. You know, I felt last week about this Texas A&M team. I thought they were the best team. When you look at the analytics, they had an argument to be 2 or 1. Since they weren't, and the committee is saying, hey, we looking at the eye test, and this is what we think of these teams, I don't mind them staying at number 3. Sort of surprised, but judging by last week, it's okay.
Number 2. The Indiana Hoosiers, and I really respect what the committee did here. It's November. Everybody's going to have a game like that, as Ohio State is number 1, you would assume, and Indiana found a way to win it in dramatic fashion. I mean, they played a desperate team, nothing to lose. It still has NFL talent on defense and some on offense as well. The Hoosiers figured out how to do it. Okay, now, look at these rankings right here on the left before we fill in the bracket. The cut line is 10. Remember, you don't have to win your conference championship in order to get a bye, but the 5 highest ranked conference champions, regardless of which conference they come from, get into the field. That means that you have Miami from the ACC, South Florida from the American, who's actually in the rankings this week, unlike a week ago when no Group of 5 team was in the rankings. They make it into the field, meaning the at-large cut line comes right after Texas at number 11, and Oklahoma and BYU are the first 2 teams out of the field. So break this down for you and show you where the byes are. The 1 through 4, regardless of conference, get the byes. 2 from the Big Ten, 2 from the SEC. 5 through 8 get home games on campus, and these are coveted. The fans want these badly. So Georgia gets a bye, gets a home game. Also getting a home game, Texas Tech. That would be rowdy and fun based on my trip there last week. Ole Miss and Oregon also getting home games to start in the first round. The rest of the bracket, the matchups would look like this. That would put Golish, the former Tennessee offensive coordinator, against Georgia. That would put Miami at 11 against Texas Tech on the road. Texas and Ole Miss, and then Notre Dame at Oregon right now. So that's how it would shake out for the second straight week. The cut line is at 10. We're going to.
You want this, you got that. No way, watch them walk right